killing your gains videos are killing your gains. So if you go to YouTube and you just search killing your gains, the following videos pop up. 1. 8 sleeping habits, killing your gains. 3 sets of 12, killing your gains. How to stop cardio from killing your gains. When cardio is killing your gains. Workout volume, killing your gains. Full range of motion, killing your gains. Is workout volume actually killing your gains? Deadlifts, killing your gains. Stretching, killing your gains. 5 reasons you're not growing, killing your gains. Why cheat meals are killing your gains. Apostrophe, sorry. 7 things that are killing your gains. Push-ups, killing your gains. These fitness influencers are killing your gains. Well, that's pretty much true. How high volume training can kill your gains. Bad habits that destroy muscle gains. Why short rest times are killing your muscle gains. Bench pressing is killing your gains. Overtraining is killing your gains. Does cardio kill your gains? 3 sets per exercise, killing your gains. 7 muscle building diet mistakes, killing your gains. Cold baths, killing your gains. Gym mistakes, killing your gains. Alex and Carrie is killing your gains. 5 intermittent fasting mistakes, killing your gains. How sleep affects your gains. Deadlift mistakes, killing your gains. Okay, so what do all these videos have in common? Well, first of all, they're all pretty dramatic. They're all sort of clickbaity titles, and they all use trigger words. Now, don't get me wrong, I fully appreciate the irony of me saying this and then using this in the title twice. However, it's important to realize that is YouTube. You want to get your click rate up, you want to get people to view your video, and so it is very, very incentivized to use this kind of language. And it really is a shame, because a video like maybe sleep might be killing your gains, possibly in some circumstances, just won't get any clicks. It just makes more sense from a business perspective to say sleep is killing your gains, or 8 easy ways where you can fix your sleep to stop it killing your gains. Which might be too long, actually, but you get the idea. Second of all, most of these videos, if not all of them, are citing studies. They are using science and claiming to be science-based. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, you do have to realize that using science does have its limitations, and that you should not rely on science too much. So that's what I want to get into today, how to use science in your training in the correct amount. Not to use it too much, but not to use it too little, and how to apply research to yourself. But before I go into that, I want to mention some of the titles that I just said and why they are BS. So the first one, 8 sleeping habits that are killing your gains. Well, did you know that some people sleep twice as fast? It's true. Some people only need about 4 to 5 hours of sleep, so they sleep almost twice as fast. It's like they're frickin' elves or something. Those lucky mofos, they just don't need as much sleep. And, they do fine. Another one, 3 sets of 12 is killing your gains. 3 sets of 12 is absolutely fine. Doing 3 sets of 12 with your 15 rep max is a great workout. It's appropriate in volume if you do it for multiple exercises, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. So 3 sets of 12 isn't necessarily killing your gains, and it could actually be pretty damn perfect. Is cardio killing your gains? Well, not necessarily. If you're really out of shape, your cardio could be so bad that it's impacting your recovery or your work capacity. So improving your cardiovascular competency could actually lead to better work capacity, which could increase your gains. So it's not necessarily killing your gains if you implement it in the right way. Workout volume. Workout volume has generally been shown to equate positively with muscle growth, with hypertrophy. There might be the odd study that was set up in a very weird way, but generally for experienced athletes who can recover well, more volume is going to be more growth, more gains. Full range of motion killing your gains. Actually, I would say that full range of motion for most people is actually going to be better most of the time. And doing partials, they do have their place, but the vast majority of your training should be using full range of motion. Deadlifts killing your gains. Actually, in the video, he doesn't actually say they're killing your gains. He defends deadlifting, so this is just pure clickbait. Stretching killing your gains. If you do a very long stretch right before you lift weights, that might reduce your performance, which could reduce your muscular gains. However, stretching in a more reasonable manner for just a few seconds, or not right before you do a damn set, is completely fine. And if you look at many of the best bodybuilders, they are very, very flexible. Flex Wheeler, he could do the full splits. Ronnie Coleman could almost do the full splits. So I think, being flexible and being mobile is definitely not a bad thing. Why cheat meals are killing your gains. I mean, if you're bulking and you're trying to gain muscle, there's absolutely nothing wrong with a cheat meal. And in fact, unless you want to be 7% body fat year round like he does, this actually makes sense because you want to get in those calories, and cheat meals are completely fine. Don't call them cheat meals, just call it eating a lot of food, because that's what you need to grow if you're actually natural. Push-ups are killing your gains. Again, this is just pure clickbait. He's actually just detailing how exactly to do push-ups, which I actually agree with. There's nothing wrong with a push-up. It's not like doing a push-up is going to get you less muscular growth. That is just a stupid title. These fitness influencers are killing your gains. Integrity is dead. I actually agree with this one. The fitness industry, especially on YouTube, is in just a piss poor shape. It is really, really bad. And I think if you see a Gymshark logo, it's a pretty good rule of thumb that you shouldn't follow their advice, just because it does correlate very strongly with bullshit, to be honest. How high volume training can kill your gains. Yes, if you don't set it up in an intelligent way, or you try to do like 30 sets in one day, of course. But if you set it up intelligently and you actually know how to structure your program, if you've been watching my videos, then no, high volume training is definitely not a bad thing. And in fact, I would say it's the way to go for most people. Why short rest times are killing your muscle gains. Well, not always. If you're doing something like a rest pause set, you want short rest times, just because that's the whole point. You don't want to fully recover. So there are certainly instances when short rest times are beneficial and better than longer rest times. Overtraining is killing your gains. Actually, overtraining is a very specific term in the scientific literature where it takes months and months to achieve. Most people cannot overtrain. I would say 99% of people, they might overreach, they get really tired, they stop training so hard, and then they never get to that point when they are overtraining. So it's a trigger word, it's a buzzword, but it's not really accurate in this context for the vast majority of people. Stop doing this, killing your gains. I actually don't know what this is, because it doesn't say in the title or the description or the thumbnail. So there's just no way to respond to this without clicking on the video, which I am not going to do out of principle. 3 sets per exercise is killing your gains. Well, not necessarily. If you do the right amount of exercises, that might actually be perfect. I often do 3 sets per exercise, and I think that could be an excellent way to progress. Alex and Kiri is killing your gains. Probably. Why alcohol kills your gains. Well, I actually know some people who drink a lot and they still make pretty good progress. So if alcohol helps you relax and it's, something that you've been doing for a long time, your body can absolutely adapt to it. And in the short term, it might actually help your muscular growth. Just because if you cut it out, you're going to go through withdrawal, which is going to probably reduce your gains. So it's not as simple as a lot of people say. So what is my main point for the video? Why am I saying all this? Well, my main point is that science has its limitations. It is not perfect. I would consider myself to be a science-based coach. However, not every one of my decisions is always based on science. A lot of my decisions, like doing this rep right here and doing those faces, is based on my experience, based on my intuition. Not anything else, not a study, just based on what I have been doing and what I have seen to get results. So when I say limitations of science, what exactly do I mean? Well, one thing is that a study is on other people. Obviously, it's not on you. I don't want to be like special snowflake on you, but you are unique. You do have unique physiological, psychological traits that maybe this study won't really apply to you. First of all, most studies are on untrained people. They're not untrained people. And even the trained people usually aren't very strong. They might have like a 10 rep max in the deadlift of 80 kilos, which is obviously not all that good. Is someone who can do that trained? I mean, sort of, kind of. Like they're stronger than the average person, but their results are probably still not going to apply to me or to someone else who has 5 or 6 years of experience. Second of all, a lot of these studies are on the elderly. I have nothing against the elderly at all. I have a lot of clients who are older. However, you have to realize that a study on someone who is 70 or 80 years old is not really going to apply to people who are 20 or 30. It's just different. You also have to look at the protocols that they use. A lot of studies, they use just the stupidest training. I mean, I've seen studies where they did like 10 sets of leg extensions to failure. No one trains like that in the real world. So a lot of these studies, they are just not really realistic. And you can't really take those results and apply them to your training because your training is totally different. Or at least I hope so. Another concept is failure. Going to true failure is actually quite rare. I think, at least in China, over the past 5 or 6 years, I've seen about 5 or 6 people take a set to true failure. That's just the reality of it. People don't push themselves like this. They don't push themselves really, really hard close to failure. And if you see a study and it says subjects took a set to failure, that is almost always volitional failure. It means they took a set until they quote-unquote failed, but usually that is themselves stopping the set. They could have done more, but they just didn't because they gave out mentally. So if you have a study on untrained elderly people doing leg extensions to quote-unquote failure, how much is that going to apply to a trained, young, strong person doing squats? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And so you really do have to read a study in detail to see if it will actually apply to you. Another factor is variability. So we're all unique, as I said before, and just because a study finds something doesn't mean that it will apply to you. So I like high rep deadlifting. I have seen great progress from doing sets of 10 to 15. If a study came out and it said sets of 3 to 5 on the deadlift are better for muscle gains, would I stop doing high rep deadlifting? No, because my experience, my intuition has shown that it's going to be better for me. So a study on other people, yeah, that's fine. I'll read it, I'll look at it, I'll analyze it, I'll see if, maybe it will apply to me or to my clients, but I don't use it as everything. Just because a lot of studies, they do conflict. One study finds this, then another study finds the exact opposite. So if you do use science, I prefer that you would use meta-analysis, just because that is a more all-encompassing general look at what is actually happening. And if you find something that works for you, but the science says that it's not that good, tell science to go fuck itself. Really, just because your experience with n equals 1, your own experience, is going to be better than a scientific study on other people. Okay, so use science, use it as a guiding light, a guideline for yourself, but also keep in mind that your own experience is always going to be more important and that you don't always need science to justify something. So this happens on chorus sometimes. I'll say something and someone will be like, "Do you have a study for that?" And I'll just be like, "No, I said it, it's my opinion, and I don't need a scientific study for everything that I say." Okay? And I think we have to get out of the manner of thinking that you need a scientific study to back up everything. So just keep in mind that everything is a little bit more nuanced, and there's always, a little bit of gray area when it comes to all of these factors, whether it's sleep or volume or rep ranges or full range of motion or stretching, any of these. Sometimes it's a yes, sometimes it's a no. It's going to be very, very individual. And I think it's sort of irresponsible to say something is killing your gains without actually knowing the person. It gets views, it gets attention, but I think overly relying on this type of video, it could actually result in you getting less progress. I mean, if Jeff Cavalier says volume is killing your gains and you switch to a very low volume program, well, maybe you're more suited to high volume, and so you could actually get worse results because you listened to some guy on the internet. Alright, that is it for today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Feel free to share with friends, family, acquaintances, enemies, anyone is fine. And I will see you next time. Peace!